it's real difficult to explain things on Reddit of all places. And I'm gonna get into this, right? And let's talk about this while having one of the greatest factions in the entire game, the Ogres. My boy Greasus Goldtooth in the background. Because there's this idea that, and is that bad criticism equals grifting? And it's like, oh man, I wish I made money off these videos. I'm making a game. I have to work for a living. I stream and I do YouTube. I've been playing games. You're going to hear Lucy in the background. She's walking around. I've been playing games ever since I could use a controller. These my cringe little meaty hands was able to pick up a controller and manipulate the buttons. I like to think I have a good idea on what ideas make a game, and you can just look at games that have existed in the past and games Creative Assembly have made in the past. Like, people universally agree that, like, Rome 1, Shogun, Attila, hell, even Total War Warhammer 2 was just the golden age of Total War Warhammer. Like, I don't think anyone would disagree. Like, you still had maybe people still had their concessions. Like, I mean, Total War Warhammer 2 released with a fraction of the races, a fraction, even of the races, a fraction of the units you can use. And I mean, that was fine because even throughout all of Total War, and they've proven that they could create races just out of nowhere, like the Vampire Coast. Like, they seen a couple of monsters like the Mornghouls that were probably mentioned in a couple lines in like the Monster Arcana books. And they're like, let's just make a race, just an entire faction, just based off this, and they made the Vampire Coast one of my favorite factions in the entire game. And Total War Warhammer 2 was just the golden age. But again, I don't know what happened with them in 3 because you had a community manager saying that, oh, just because you bought the game doesn't give you the right to criticize it. It's like, okay, so people work for a fucking living, they do back-breaking work to put money and food on the table of their family, and then what little money and what little time you can set apart. You buy Total War Warhammer 3, which still isn't finished. I don't think they're ever going to fucking finish this game. And you play it, and you're like, okay, some things just seem off. Like, it doesn't seem like the Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 experience. There's a lot of bugs that still exist. There's a lot of races that they still haven't added. A lot of things just seem missing, and I don't think they're any closer to adding those things in, which is why I don't think the game will ever really be fixed. So you express this to Reddit, right? Because it has a decent Reddit community. But then you have people jumping down your throat saying you're a grifter. And, I mean, that you don't know what you're talking about. It's like I played 1,000 hours. But what am I saying? You can't explain yourself to people that already have this idea that you're grifting. So, and it's like, okay, I'm grifting, and so what? What part of what I'm saying is wrong? Like, these are things people have said. Like, there's still problems in this game that existed in the first Total War Warhammer. Now, granted, they're very minor. Like, I had one off the top of my head. I mean, there's also new, like, not really problems, but annoyances. Like in 2, like the AI would build up armies and go after your armies, but in 3, they build like shitty 2, like 5, 6 stacks of armies and just run around you, and it's like, well, that's not fun. That's annoying. Like, I'm playing this game modded, and man, the modders are really pulling through with this fucking game. Because creative assembly sure as hell isn't anymore. I think because of the bugs, like some of the bugs is like you'd have a couple races that just completely, just unimpededly expand like so fucking fast. Like some of them are the orcs. If the AI Greasus will also expand unimpeded. Like you have to, if you start anywhere now near the mountains of Morn, you have to beat the fuck out of Greasus, otherwise he just becomes unbeatable. You'll have factions like what that Cathay woman who will get her ass beat, have a single settlement, but then out of nowhere she just endlessly just starts just taking all that land back and becoming back even stronger. And you have some race factions like Grom the Paunch that will just, he will still just sit in his settlement and then eventually just get his ass beat by either the Bretonians or the Wood Elves or the Empire when they come in there, you know. And things like that is just like, well, I played a game enough times to know if I start out as a faction, what factions to have to deal with. You know, because that makes an interesting campaign knowing, okay, so I start out, you know, near, like as Valkyr the Bloody, you'll have to deal with the Dark Elves. You'll eventually have to deal with Ulthuan. You have to deal with that one Kislev bitch, stanky leg, you know. Or if you start out, I don't know, as the Clarinetian, okay, you'll have to fuck with Cathay eventually, and you'll have to fuck with that Dark Elf asshole. You'll have to fuck with Nakai. These are things you understand because you've played the game. But it's annoying when, say, you start out in Lustria and you're playing as what's that? It starts with a B, right? Bordelot, and you would expect the Lizardmen like Itza to be a stopgap between the fucking Skaven, but then they sit in their settlements, do absolutely nothing, do not expand, and these are all probably going to be things that they fix when this video comes out. Again, tardy to the party, but they don't. You're turned 30, and you're already touching heels with the other rats, and you don't have anything, but they do because they've endlessly expanded. Now they have like top tier shit, and it sucks. And again, stomping out the Skaven is already a slog because they can raise an entire army in like, you know, a couple turns just to come at you with. Like, they don't mind losing settlements to you. The AI, and it's like the AI knows it's the AI and it doesn't need to fucking care. Okay, the anti-player bias is fine, but I've had an AI. I was playing as the fucking Bretonia, that Fae bitch. I've had the Dark Elves declare war on me, which is like, whatever, right? Like, what's that bitch's name? Or no, I think it was either her or Nagaroth with Malekith. And I'd have them send an entire army of nothing but fucking dread spears halfway across the fucking world to my settlement, take it, and now look over there. They've lost everything. They've gotten their ass beat by the High Elves. But no, they just had to send that one stupid fucking army to me. And it's like the High Elves, I think they just let the army go past because it's the AI. And it's like, things like that just does not make for an interesting game. It makes for stupid fucking AI, player bias AI. That is like, okay, it's annoying, but it's not how Total War Warhammer 2 AI would act, unless they absolutely had to, right? But and I can't tell you how many times, you know, you had to play whack-a-mole with fucking shit ass, goofy ass armies of your enemy. And see, I guess this is why I like Slaanesh. Because with Slaanesh, you know, you can beat them the fuck out of them enough times, and then you can just use your the seduction mechanic and just have them as your vassals, which helps you in the long run. Like playing that Chaos Lord of Slaanesh is not. I mean, playing Akari is also not that bad either, but you really have to beat the fuck out of the elves early game when they don't have their good shit. Otherwise, you're in for a hard time. I mean, I also like playing that guy, what's that Vampire Coast guy? The one that can have the Necrofex Colossus mount. You can also do it with him, but hell, I've mastered Vampire Coast enough times. Like, there is one mod, like the Damned Nations mod, and this adds a lot of good units to settlements, so to actually take a settlement is actually a slog. Like, you have to build up high tier units and actually, you know, be strategic. And with that mod, like, you don't, of all the 300 races, you don't have half of them just getting their ass beat within, like, the first 50 turns. Like, it makes Total War Warhammer a completely different game. Because it's very isolating. Like, you have your domain of influence, and that's all you really have. You don't have Greasus, like you're playing, you're playing, what's his fucking name, Archon, and Greasus is just blowing through every single other faction until he gets up to you. And by then, he has everything around the Mountains of Morn and the Deadlands. And now you have to go to this massive fucking slog just to beat him down. And the vassals are fine, I suppose, right? But I mean, they're pretty good. Like, I like that they effectively suicide into enemy armies. You know, soften them up for you. Though again, I think there's a bias in auto resolve for some of them unless they kill a faction that you're trying to vassalize. Yeah, I feel like it does that shit on purpose. But anyway, things like that is like, and again, you're turn 200 and you're fighting this fat fuck, you know, near the Moors, or you're fighting the Empire, which the Empire will get their ass beat, but then they'll just come back hella strong out of nowhere. You're fighting him and the Empire. You're then probably fucking with the High Elves, and they're sending 9 of their armies, and it makes for in late game. I mean, the AI shits the bed. No wonder they have the thing where they have to raise the difficulty, even if you have the difficulty on like no difficulty modifiers. After a certain turn, I feel like it still raises the difficulty anyway because the AI's dumb. And it's like, for me, there's no reason to play on a higher difficulty because the enemy just gets more cheats. You know, like I play on hard most of the time, especially when I'm streaming. You know, or I mean, I'll play on normal. If they update the game and it breaks the fucking save, I'll play on normal up until I get to the point of where I was before. Or if like it fucks up the mods, I'll play until it gets, the turn that I left off on normal, then play it on hard. I mean, it's just, do I want more cheats? Or do I just want to mod the game and have the difficulty I want? Yeah, I think I'll mod it. Yeah, I think I'll mod it. But again, as a paying customer, and this is what I have to, I'm gonna end off saying this: as a paying customer, you have every right to criticize a product, and don't let any fucking community manager that doesn't actually care for the game, the product, the gamer, tell you otherwise. I mean, criticism is just part of putting a product out, right? Like if you want to be that business oriented individual at CA, you got to understand there are people that will criticize the product, especially if you leave bugs and glitches and broken AI in. Expect criticism, and they are expecting this, which is why they're effectively doubling down, hunkering down, putting their fingers in their ears to any criticism. And I guess people will defend it, but I don't know why people attack me for pointing, just criticizing a game that I play. It's like I want the game to be good. I like Total War Fantasy, but if you're not going to give me a good game or a good product to enjoy that, to live in the Total War Fantasy, it's like I'm not going to want to play it anymore. And God thank the modders, because they're really putting in fucking effort carrying this game, putting in other factions, because that's why I'm still playing this game. And there's a lot of mods on Nexus that, never mind. I'm not going to point that. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. YouTube already wants this channel dead. I'm not going to kill it even more. So, anyway, and now that you have fun, I'm ending this, right? You just had to look at Ogre's best faction. I don't care what anybody says, especially Greasus. Look at this good fatty right here. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. Peace.